Good morning, fellow traders. It is 5:45 a.m. Friday, February 22nd, the end of another glorious week. Hope you're looking forward to the weekend. I am Jonathan van Clute with Stock Navigators as usual, and reminding you to please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel if you like these videos, if you'd like to have more of them, if you find them helpful, useful, if there's anything else you'd like us to do, please do give us feedback. We love to receive it, and we do see all of it. So let us know what we can do to help you in your trading. All right, let's start out by looking at the S&P 500, which is usually where I start. So the S&P has just, of course, continued to be on this huge upwards push. And, it'd be easy to ask, oh, this is just going to keep going, and it's so bullish, and the bull market is back, and, look how up everything is, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you understand market movements, you know that we are looking at an extension level here that is very critical. We have an extension level from this move here and up to here at the 161.8. That is a very, very critical level. And we're right there right now. And you can see if I pull, whoops, I moved the wrong thing. If I move the chart a little bit is what I meant to do. Let's put this, put this back where it was. Let me just reset my scaling here and move that back where it was. All right, good enough. So you can see that we're right there right now, right at that level. We kind of poked above it, dropped back down again, and now we're trying to hold above it again. So could it go higher from here? Yes, of course. Absolutely, it could. Anything is possible. We are not predicting the future here. We are playing probabilities. And right now, the probability is that this move, after having reached the 161.8, is due for a pullback. That is also due, it's not just the 161.8, though. I mean, that's a critical thing, but don't get too hung up on that, because the other issue is this level, and this level, this sort of triple top here. This created three separate sell zones, and I've just combined them all together here because they pretty much merge into one zone. So we've basically got this gigantic sell zone overhead as well. You combine that with the fact that we're also at the 161.8, plus we've had this big long push up here, which is what got us to the 161.8. All signs are that we need to retrace. It's very important. A healthy market will always do that because you need higher highs and higher lows, and higher highs and higher lows and higher highs, etc. The next higher high, of course, is going to be to take out this level here. And then after that, we're basically gunning for the all-time highs. So if you know your Dow theory, we're talking about a primary, a secondary, and then, of course, there's going to be a minor somewhere up here. So, whoops, I didn't complete my M. So that's what we're looking at. So right now, this is a very, very treacherous level to think about entering a long position. If you're a day trader, scalper, something like that, different story. But if you're looking to hold for a while, if you're thinking of buying into your favorite stock right now, because the market's been so up, it seems like everything is nice and safe. Well, that's exactly the wrong time to want to think about buying, because that means the move has already happened and you've missed it. So buying a long position now in pretty much anything that I plan to hold, I wouldn't be crazy about doing it. It's just not a great area for that. I really want to see the pullback. Now, as I mentioned, though, on a day trading basis, intraday, different story. Overnight, starting when the Europeans came online at midnight, it's been up, 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 up. So they've pushed it up pretty nicely for us here in the U.S. session. Now, does that mean the U.S. traders are going to continue that push higher, or are the U.S. traders going to look at this as a gift and say, well, thank you very much, Europe. When we left you, we were around here, and now you've pushed it all the way up here for us. We'll take those profits, thanks, and push it down. That is often what we see. So just trade accordingly and wait until the market gives you a clear indication of what it wants to be doing. And if we zoom out, we can see that, there was the clear pattern: higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, etc. And right now, kind of going sideways up here. The trend has definitely kind of flattened off, and one last little sort of attempt to push up. yesterday, and then it just got slammed back down. In fact, you can basically see exactly what I'm talking about is the evening session. It actually was just the Asian session pushed it up. Yeah, so yesterday was the Asian session pushed it up. And then the Europeans actually are the ones who slammed it down. And then the U.S., we tried to push it up and just couldn't do it, and then let it just drop. So what's going to happen today? We'll know that in roughly an hour or so after the market has had a chance to settle in the morning. But just overall sense is that we are due for a pullback. So I am personally getting ready for and watching for a really good short opportunity because I believe one should be coming fairly soon. But that being said, like I mentioned already, intraday, there's always opportunities to be had. So you can definitely go into scalp mode and get the smaller little bites at the apple. Let's take a look at crude oil, which is continuing to climb higher. Crude also, I was really looking for a pullback, and I kind of thought we'd get it out of this congestion area here, which price did get sort of stuck in and give us our first hint that the bulls really wanted to try to push higher here, and then a pullback, and now continuation to the upside. So right now, there's just no debating it. The trend is definitely up. Price came down to the trend line. Poked below it, came right back up to it again, and that was a fantastic entry. When the trend line held, you had a great entry to the upside. Of course, you didn't have confirmation really until this high was broken, but if you wait for that, then you're likely going to get caught when this pulls back, maybe test this zone, and then goes higher, because that is just typically what happens. So you want to learn to watch for these pullbacks and treat them as low-risk buying opportunities, because you can put your stop. If you waited until this popped right back above the trend line again, you can put your stop. If you've got the account balance and the risk management to handle it, you can put your stop just outside the low of that candle. Otherwise, you could just put it a little bit outside the bottom of the trend line, or outside the trend line rather, and then that's a great low-risk entry. And at that point, you can just trail this up and capture as much as you can. So crude wants to head higher. There's absolutely no question about it. On the short-term intraday, I mean, we have taken out this level already. So, I mean, you can just barely see it on the daily chart, but we are definitely marching higher. So there's no question this market wants to head higher. So the next level to watch for, we have a minor one here, more or less based on, that area there. After that, though, it's kind of blue sky. We've got this hold down area here to retrace, and there's not really any significant levels there to watch for. So crude might have a nice little pop coming up. It could run once it gets over maybe 60. It could certainly run up to somewhere near 70. So there is a nice potential long trade setting up in crude. So depending on where you are in your risk tolerance, you might just first pull back, see that as a buying opportunity, and look to go higher, something like that. Of course, this is talking about if you're going to be swing trading, holding for a few days to maybe a week or two, something like that. If you're an intraday trader, then obviously you're just looking to capture a little bit here and there, a little piece. So right now we have set a higher high. So I'd be looking for the pullback somewhere. Once you get that pullback and confirmation that it has sort of stopped and turned around, then you can see about going long and capture a piece of that market. All right, gold has hopped up over our zone here. It got up into this sell zone, and that was not really a formal, ideal, perfect sell zone. I basically just based it off of this congestion area back here. But it was certainly a resistance zone. Price got up into it and came back below it and got kind of stuck in here for a little bit. And even now, it hopped up above it with some strength, but then popped right back down again into it. And right now is trying to get out of it again. So this zone is kind of acting like a magnet for price. It's really pulling price back to it again. So gold, having a little bit of a tough time going higher, but I don't think that'll be terribly long-lived. I mean, the trend is definitely up with some pretty serious conviction, and we've got an obvious pattern of higher highs and higher lows. And the broader market, as I said already, is kind of due for a pullback. So if we see people kind of take the classical approach of maybe shift to gold when the markets are a little bit treacherous. If the market does pull back in a sharp way, then we might see gold continue to be able to march higher. But that being said, we've got to really get over these highs back here to really go higher. We've got to take out basically this level here. That's the area we're gunning for in gold. So if gold can manage to march up that high and get through all this congestion area here, if it can get over this level, then there is some really serious buying conviction behind it, and it might be able to march higher. And we might be looking for some highs in gold that we haven't seen in a very long time. I mean, this chart goes all the way back to how far back can this chart go? It goes back to, oops. Goes back to 2014, and we were a little bit higher there and there in both 16 and 14. So we have been up there before. It's not like these are going to be all-time record highs that it would have to set or anything, but it's been a long time since it's been up there. So gold has got, its work cut out for it. There's a lot of stuff to have to get over, but right now it is looking like it wants to do it. So we just got to get out of this zone and not get pulled back into it. If gold gets pulled back down into it, then it could continue to go sideways for a little while. And perhaps we see this trend start to taper off and, maybe even give us a pullback in gold. It certainly has been a very nice pattern of higher highs and higher lows. So a decent retracement wouldn't be out of the question. On a smaller time scale, of course, we're looking at the high there, which is really just the high there. That is our signal that no question this market wants to continue to go higher and establish another higher high and higher low, etc. There's also always our good old friend, the trend line. And you can draw that something like, maybe this. And just to give you another level to watch for, keep an eye on. I mean, you could even go really back to here, something like that. So, there's a nice level to watch for as well. If price is able to pull back to that trend line, that could give you a very nice buying opportunity as well. Take a look at natural gas. Now, natural gas has pushed sideways to up and has hopped over this descending trend line that I had here, which is not quite in the right place right now for some reason. There we go. That's a little bit better. It is wanting to march higher. The trend, you can see it's flattening off. The downtrend is sort of getting shallower. So there's nothing to get overly bullishly excited about quite yet. But it is kind of turning around. So if it can march a little bit higher, kind of get over the high of this candle here, and then perhaps pull back, we will have kind of a mini cup and handle. If we get something like that and then break higher, we've got basically our first higher low is what that would be. So watch for that if you want to get bullish on natural gas. That's really what I would want to see. There is still some potential to the downside. We do still have these two buy zones down here, which as of yet, natural gas has not challenged. It hasn't gotten down into them and tested them. So I wouldn't be terribly surprised to see that happen. This is not necessarily a big bullish change yet or anything. It's just the trend starting to flatten. So on a daily basis, anyhow, right now we don't have a super clear direction. On an intraday basis, we did break this little descending trend line that was here, which also is not quite in the right place. I don't know what's up with my lines this morning. So, price clearly got over that. So I am actually going to go ahead and nuke that trend line. And right now is basically just going sideways. You can see that it's pretty much just kind of, oops, not all wrong. It's kind of just trapped in this area and bouncing around and bouncing around. So very, very range bound right now. It's also got a zone overhead from farther left, and it's got a second one up here, and it's got some climbing to do to be able to get over those. So if to the downside, you want to watch out for a break of that low. If that happens, then there's no question that the market wants to continue lower. To the upside, we got to get over this high. And I'm just basically saying the same thing I already said on the daily, but now you're just seeing it with a little bit more detail. Because always remember that these smaller time frames are inside the larger time frames. So that you've got to understand how one moves inside the other. So right now, natural gas, it's technically up. I mean, you could say that the slope of this 21 EMA intraday is up. But again, the downwards pressure right now is coming from the daily, and that is still to the downside. So it hasn't gone flat yet and turned around. So right now, anyway, still downwards pressure, still bearish pressure. So watch out for that. And let's finish up the morning analysis with crypto, Bitcoin specifically. And Bitcoin is really wanting to march higher. It did hop over this descending trend line that was in this kind of triangle or wedge here. And whoops, wrong chart. It's trying to hop higher, and it broke up here. But we don't have very big ranges. It's not like we've had a nice series of higher highs and higher lows or anything marching upwards. So I am not ready to get super excited about this yet. It still has to get over this high. It's got to get over that high. And ultimately, it's got to get over this high. So it's got to get over about that 44.15 level to really establish a true bullish change of sentiment, change of direction. We've got our first hints that perhaps this market is ready to do that. We had what could be deemed bottom here, this section here, and then we've had what could be the first higher low. Of course, we don't know that yet until we've made a higher high. So right now, you can't really definitively say that this is the first higher low, but it's shaping up like it could be. So perhaps the trend is changing. Certainly on the 21 EMA, it is pointing up. It has hooked around and is pointing sharply up. So that is a bullish sign. On the intraday basis, of course, as crypto, as Bitcoin specifically usually does, we've got these huge spikes here and then sideways, and then a big spike here and then sideways. And that's just the typical pattern that Bitcoin has been exhibiting for quite some time. So it could continue to do exactly that. We might just get another spike up and then go sideways, another spike up and go sideways. Maybe that's what finally gets us up over that 44.15 level. Right now, intraday, we're looking at kind of a range-bound sideways market, just chopping around in here. And you know, the safe bet is to, you know, if you have the ability to short, you short up at the top of the range. Otherwise, you just sell and take your profits, but you're buying down in the bottom of the range. And just that's your game plan, is basically buy low, sell high in these ranges. But just always remember that right now, the trend is curving up, and Bitcoin will do these sudden huge pushes to the upside. So don't get too complacent with just your range bound trading, because all of a sudden it's going to do one of these and shoot to the upside, or even this here. I mean, Bitcoin does some weird things. You get some very odd behavior sometimes, because it is definitely a you know, a lesser traded market than you know, the big equities and futures and things like that. So it can behave a little strangely. It's more subject to manipulation and things like that. So just, you know, trade accordingly, use good risk management and position sizing and all that, and make sure that if you do get stopped out, it's not going to take you out of the game. That is rule number one: don't lose money. Rule number two: see rule number one. All right, folks, that's it for the morning analysis. S&P still just kind of hanging in there. Nothing really happening. We're just hanging around above that 161.8 extension level and waiting to see what's going to happen from there. So opening bell in 26 minutes. I'll be watching for that. I am going to go get ready for our premium chat room and see all of our lovely members there, and see what the morning has in store for us all. So once again, I'm Jonathan Van Clute with Stock Navigators, inviting you to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Give us feedback. Let us know what we can do to help you in your trading. All right, that's it, everybody. Trade well. Take care.